the Republic of South Sudan as a new nation became a full member of Northern Corridor Integration Project during the 5th Summit in May 2014, held in Nairobi, Kenya, with an intention of developing the new nation, especially in the areas of standard gauge railway, information communication technology, airspace management, power generation, transmission interconnectivity, as well as human resource capacity building, among others. Northern Corridor Integration Project is an initiative of the heads of states. These are mainly President of Uganda, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, Uhuru Kenyatta of Kenya, and Salva Kiir Mayardit of South Sudan.
Northern Corridor is initiative of presidents. So in our case in South Sudan, our President Salva Kiir Mayardit is the patron of the Northern Corridor Integration Projects. Is the president who supervises these projects. It includes railways, ICT, power generations, pipelines, immigrations, airspace management, among others. We have about 14 projects. I am a coordinator, but the overall supervisor of these projects is our president. And so I think this project, since it's being supervised by a head of a state, it will go much faster, and it will give hope to the people of South Sudan that it will come and it will bring some enlightenment to them.
During a 4-day human resource capacity building cluster meeting of Joint Committee of Northern Corridor Integration Project held in Juba, that brought together representatives of member countries of Uganda, Kenya, Rwanda, and South Sudan to discuss on areas of human resource capacity building. Northern Corridor is the transport corridor that links the landlocked countries of Uganda, Rwanda, South Sudan, and Burundi to Kenya's modern port of Mombasa, will be of great benefit to all member country states. It also aimed at seeking and increasing the efficiency of road transport along the Northern Corridor to facilitate trade and regional integration, enhances aviation safety and security to meet international standards. The Joint Committee meeting in Juba focuses on areas of human resource capacity building of the citizens of the Republic of South Sudan. There is a great hope and expectation that this project will surely be implemented for the benefit of the entire citizens of member countries, since it is the initiative of 4 heads of states.
Human resource capacity building cluster meeting is important for South Sudan because we have the allocations of first slots for training. That is, when we talk about capacity building, it involves training of our officials or our staff, being railway workers or so on and so forth. Now, there is a railway. We need to train our people. There is airspace. We need to train our people because we lack this. Then pipelines, administration, and so on. There are many things which come there. So for us, because the priority for us as South Sudan that will benefit from is this actual training. Yeah.
The Joint Committee meeting of members of Northern Corridor Integration Project is very significant in creating strong economic ties among the member states, as well as bridging the gap in some of the challenges the new nation is facing that can easily be addressed by member states.
No, this meeting is very, very important, and we are happy to note that all countries were represented, and ultimately giving the Republic of Southern Sudan to host this meeting has been an entry point for the Republic of South Sudan, because we have been able to now initiate the participation of the Republic of Southern Sudan, and we believe that through this process, the big capacity gaps which are existing in the Republic of Southern Sudan can be addressed by the regional partners.
Every member state should speed up the process of integration project and consider the aspect of implementation as first priority.
My message is that we need to continue with this spirit, the spirit of working together as brothers, because we are collectively in this region. We have so many things that bring us together, because as countries we have so much that we share, and we need to continue ensuring that what it is that we share become our strength. We all focus together on that. We would want to congratulate the Republic of South Sudan for the effort and the speed in which they have been able to join the other partner states in the Northern Corridor to be able to move forward the projects.
In the ministerial session of the Northern Corridor Integration Project held in Nairobi, Kenya, with the purpose of informing the respective ministers of the ongoing progress made by the Joint Committee members of Northern Corridor Integration Project on the first opening date of the 8th Summit. The summit drew participants from Uganda, Kenya, Rwanda, and South Sudan to focus on areas of consultation and submission of respective reports from member states to facilitate the implementation of the projects. There is much hope that the implementation of the Northern Corridor Integration Project will enhance great development of the new nation as well as members' countries.
I'm really very much impressing, very much happy about the progress of the meeting, that it will achieve its aim. These projects are live projects for the development of our country. If we take, for instance, the hydroelectric power development, if we take the other projects we are talking about in the human resource and all the other various fields, they are really very important projects, and we are really hoping that the summit will come out with good decisions. We will support it. Mainly, we have seen the main discussion was around the financial support, because these projects are very substantial, very big projects. They need really a heavy investment, like when you take the standard gauge railway all the way from Mombasa through Kenya, through Uganda, up to Juba in South Sudan, and that is what is concerning us. We are here to protect our interests. We are here to promote our interests of South Sudan, and we see that South Sudan should be able to push its projects through these countries so that we can achieve it.
A loud appeal was made by the National Coordinator for Northern Corridor Integration Project to the state members to cooperate with the new nation in facilitation of this project that can only be achieved through cooperation of member states.
Today, as a country, prosperity is our motto. The people of South Sudan believe that prosperity of nation cannot and will neither be achieved through military parity nor the state economic capabilities, but it can be achieved through cooperation with other African states, such as of these Northern Corridor Integration projects. We as the people of South Sudan have a high cooperation with our sister African state, and in particular with our immediate neighbors. This northern corridor is a symbol of cooperation among us East African countries and will be the only way to development and prosperity of the region as a whole. My colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, it is well known with the law of nature that anything that cannot defend itself cannot be defended. None of the East African states can singly handle to achieve total independence on its domestic needs. The cooperation shown within Northern Corridor countries, and in particular Kenya to South Sudan, is a great example to collective responsibility toward brotherly states. Kenya government has shouldered the training of South Sudanese civil servants, particularly the civil aviation personnel, among others. And through this forum, I want to say thank you to Kenya, Republic of Kenya, and the people of Kenya. The efficiency and effectiveness of the government of the Republic of South Sudan will be achieved partly through this cooperation of Northern Corridor Integration Project.
The chairman of Northern Corridor Integration Project described most of the effective progress made in the Joint Committee meeting of the 8th Summit.
Initially, we've been looking at how do we speed up the flow of trade, goods and services and of our people in the region. And we've achieved a lot. From the reports coming through today, I'm happy to say that the flow of trade, goods and services has improved considerably. For example, it takes much less time now for goods to flow from Mombasa to Juba and to the region. So that's an area of great success. We've also made great success in major investment decisions. We have coordinated and are coordinating areas of infrastructure such as the railway, the new standard railway gauge that will go from Kenya coast to Juba and to Kigali. Your country, your president has been frontline in terms of the interests of the South Sudan people, training your people, participating in what we are doing. And that's something that we in the rest of East Africa are very happy to welcome you as a new nation into the initiatives that we are undertaking.
Let all the representatives of the Northern Corridor Integration Project, as well as the government ministries in the respective countries, work in unity and coexistence to ensure that all the directives of heads of states are implemented for the mutual benefit of the respective countries.
The message is that we have a good forum. We have a good will of the heads of state that guide us in the implementation of this project. We should take that opportunity of the good political will that is around this project. And we, as technicians, we have to implement as much as we can. When we have the support from ministers, from the heads of state, the implementation becomes very easier. And we have to ensure that our citizens get benefit from this project, because the project are not just implemented. It is for the sake of the good living, the good life of our citizens. So we have to make all the effort. We have to make all the effort in order to ensure that we implement this project with the support of the head of state, with the support of partners, because when we present this project as a regional project, we get funds from all development partners without any difficulties. So we shall continue the momentum and ensure that we fast track as the spirit of the Northern Corridor is fast.
Only through cooperation of the member states can a successful economic development strategy which focuses on improving the skills of the area's workforce, reducing the cost of doing business, and making available the resources business needs to compete and thrive in today's global economy can be achieved effectively.
This northern corridor also involves South Sudan and DRC. It is important that certainly for countries who use Port of Mombasa as a source of as a gateway for their imports and exports, it's important that they cooperate, work together to improve on the performance along this route, so that one, cost of doing business is brought down. Because along this route, globally, it is where the highest cost of doing business are. And that's why the Excellencies had to decide, no, we must explore all possibilities to make sure these costs come down. When they come down, they help countries for the economies to grow. They help the businessmen to make their businesses grow. They help even the consumers consume products at a lesser cost, which means therefore everybody will benefit. And that's why South Sudan joins, because indeed it's important to us to gain also from it. Secondly, even for the sake of improving infrastructure development, energy generation, because you need your infrastructure to be connected to, say, the region, so that you can export, you can import, and you want to use the best means of transport. And one of them is standard gauge railway. Certainly South Sudan will benefit a lot.
At the official closing of the 8th summit that was attended by President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni of Uganda, Paul Kagame of Rwanda, Uhuru Kenyatta of Kenya, and Vice President James Waniiga of South Sudan, representative of Tanzania's presidents, as well as government dignitaries among others, convened to review the progress made on the implementation of the directives given during the 7th summit, as well as to provide direction on deepening regional integration for the economic benefit of the member states. In his key remarks at the conclusion date of the 8th summit of the Northern Corridor Integration Project, the President of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta, commended heads of member states for the work well done. He called on them to put much effort and resources to ensure that the outstanding projects are implemented fully.
Indeed, we also have challenges, and I believe if we continue with the same commitment that we have shown from the very beginning, even those challenges will be overcome if we continue to commit ourselves to the regular sessions that we're having. And I want to continue to encourage our officials and ministers to continue the close collaboration so that some of these areas that are proving difficult can be overcome.
The Republic of Uganda, Kenya, Rwanda will implement most of the 14 projects of the Northern Corridor Integration Project, and South Sudan will engage in 7 projects which will be put into consideration, followed by others. Finally, it has come to notification that a 4-day 8th summit of the Northern Corridor Integration Project, which started on 8th December in Nairobi, Kenya, has given much hope and green light to the citizens of the new nation, as well as member states, to witness and enjoy the fruits of Northern Corridor Integration Project in most of the immediate project to be implemented within the period of 2 months. That includes harmonization of tuition fees for South Sudanese students studying in East African countries, as well as establishment of one network area that will allow South Sudan to share equal rates of calls with East African countries.
I want to assure the public that we have given our commitment and that we are going to work hard within the remaining period of time so that we are able to implement what we call one network area, which means then removing what we call roaming. So if you call Kenya, you call Uganda, you call Rwanda, you will be charged the same money as if you are communicating within South Sudan. That makes life easier for the public, it makes it cheaper, and therefore for the government also we will get revenue more than we expect. The good news is that we are not trying to jump the line. Uganda has given its deadline to be the 2nd of January, and therefore we will move together with our counterpart in Uganda, learn from the experiences in Kenya and in Rwanda, and ensure that we give good services to our people and also accrue good money for our country as a revenue. The good news is that we already, as ministers of telecommunications and ICT in the 4 countries, we have had our own little cluster. And actually, we have been meeting and caucusing outside even the Northern Corridor when we want to learn from one another in terms of experiences. Secondly, also the programs that are on the Northern Corridor integration program call for continuous interaction and continuous discussion. So already they know my issues and I know their issues very well. They have already promised me today that they are going to send to me through the email immediately samples of indicators of how much they have accrued from the experience of the one network area within the 1 month that they have had it. Rwanda and Kenya started in November, and they are telling me already they have seen money that has come in from this one network area experience. So what I'm telling them is that send me the documents immediately, and I know I trust them, they will do that. I will even use these documents to indicate to our public how practically it has happened. With Uganda, we are also already communicating with my colleague, Minister Nasasera, and what we are doing from now until 31st of December and the 2nd of January, which are just next to one another, is to move together expeditiously. There is a lot we learn from these countries because they came before us. Challenges are not identical. They are not exactly the same, but there is a lot you can learn from one another. So this is enough to help me move forward even faster than expected. The most important thing that we have from the Northern Corridor program itself is that the heads of the states, they give directives. And when they give directives, you have to implement. So the ball is back to us to say that these are directives. Our role as ministers, as technocrats, being telecommunications, being Minister of Finance, is to ensure that we do the homework and we implement. Therefore, any challenges that will come across, the Minister of Finance is there to help me, and he has already promised, so that then together with our technocrats, we are able to then compare with the region and then see how to move forward without any challenges that will come back to the public. I want to assure the public that anything we are doing here is for your own good, and therefore we stay and work hard to see into it that if that one network area experience is introduced, it must be positive and it must help our public to improve in terms of communications and in terms of reaching their families and friends who are across the board. And that will bring to us, South Sudan, and also to the whole region, positive results, especially in our economic growth.
The massive effort of Northern Corridor Integration Project will not go in vain to all member states, especially the new nation of South Sudan. Juba University is being considered to be one of the centers for excellence in training of geologists, peace building. As a result, it will be possible for the university to solicit for funds from international institutions and organizations, as well as competing with other universities across the region.
Had a successful 8th summit that reviewed the projects of the Northern Corridor, as had been done for the last 7 summits, heads of state. Initially, there was a progress made in area of extended gauge railway on how the feasibility studies and the work is starting all the way from Mombasa, and also in the area of single custom territory, some of the issues regarding the clearances and so forth, single visa, and the most important was the one area network that has been operationalized by Rwanda and Kenya, South Sudan and Uganda to follow soon. South Sudan will effectively maintain the deadline by 31st of this month, and Uganda by the 2nd of January 2015. So basically the meeting was attended by ministers and technical people, and this is a breakthrough for the integration projects, which is enhancing the infrastructure in this region.
Heads of states have recommitted themselves to implement most of the projects that will enhance the development of all member states.
The heads of state noted with appreciation the progress registered and renewed their commitment to fast-tracking the implementation of the infrastructure projects for transforming the Northern Corridor. The heads of state appreciated the conclusion of the power purchase and wheeling agreements and the signed MOU on the management of the Northern Corridor airspace block. They noted the contribution this will deliver in the development of the infrastructure for transmission of power, trade, and reduction in the cost of air travel in the region. The heads of state directed the Minister of Infrastructure of Rwanda to convene a meeting of airline industry stakeholders to finalize negotiations on the 5th Freedom Traffic Rights on Entebbe, Nairobi, Juba, Nairobi by 31st December 2014 and address all outstanding issues to reduce the cost of air travel in the region and report to the next summit. The heads of state considered the ministerial report, endorsed the recommendations contained therein, and directed as follows. First, on the standard gauge railway development, the summit noted the commencement of the construction of the Mombasa-Nairobi section. They directed ministers for transport and infrastructure to expedite ratification of the SGR protocol, and together with ministers of finance, infrastructure, and attorneys general, ministers of justice, to jointly mobilize financing for Northern Corridor integration projects and report to the next summit. On information communication technology ICT, the summit reiterated the importance of full and speedy operationalization of the One Network area in Uganda and directed ministers of finance and ICT to resolve all outstanding issues on the One Network area by January 2015. The summit further directed ministers to operationalize the One Network area for SMS, data, and mobile financial services and implement the framework developed by the cluster to fast-track various projects. On human resources capacity building, noting the critical role the skills audit will play in identifying skills gap across all infrastructure projects, the summit directed the ministers of finance to expedite disbursement of funds to commence the skills audit exercise. The summit further directed ministers of education to develop mechanisms to address concerns for goods that impede the implementation of uniform tuition fees in institutions of higher learning. On defense, peace, and security cooperation, the summit noted the progress made towards the ratification of the Mutual Defense and Peace and Security Pacts and directed the ministers to expedite the conclusion of the ratification processes and report to the next summit. The summit further directed the ministers of foreign affairs to join the Defense, Peace and Security cluster and particularly develop a comprehensive conflict and dispute resolution mechanism and also report to the next summit. Additional directives. The ministers are directed to ensure adequate representation, participation, and adherence to set timelines in all cluster meetings and projects and complete their reports 2 weeks to the summit.